Hi, Paula here from My Whimsical Little World. So this is the digi that we're going to be working on, one that I created. It's just a tiny little card. I couldn't really tell you its measurements. I know it's less than 3 by 4, that's for sure. And it just says, "One does not live by coffee alone. Have a donut." I had so much fun creating these cute little doodles and just playing with them, and they're actually all individual and just, making compositions out of them so that they'd be paired up and to be able to utilize them a whole lot more. So I had lots and lots of fun creating them, and I'm still creating lots of them. I'm having some for some tea drinkers, and there's going to be some cute little cakes to go with it as well. So I am really excited to get that going out there for you. Now, I am doing some flash little giveaways, and they'll only last for 24 hours. So I hope that you will be understanding and not share them, because I will put them up on the Etsy shop after the flash giveaway is done. And there's going to be lots of them. There's going to be lots of them. And people have been asking me how I accomplished that texture, and some have said there was a cork board or some sort of a wood grain. And honestly, it's like super, super easy to do and really, really messy, and you will be surprised. So I wanted to show you, this is my little mini card. As you can see, like, it's tiny. It's a tiny little mini card. And I used a lot of texture just to make it stand out and pop out. It's actually, I don't know if it's going to show up in camera, but it's actually quite rich, the color and the depth, because I used a lot of color. And I wouldn't be surprised that I'll probably have to stop and refill my markers. So I'm going to leave that as my guide right there for my digi. And this is the other one that I did, and this one is slightly larger, so it could be used for like a pocket. And it's coffee o'clock. Now, the ink, I was asked about the ink splatter and stuff, and I didn't splatter ink. I didn't do that, but I will show you what I did. And I did use inks, both Distress and Distress and then the Copics, right? So I used a gel pen just to give it a little bit more of the highlights and make the highlights stand out more and give it more of a 3D effect. Some of these I did mask, and some I did not, just so I can get closer into the cup. And this one here in particular, I believe I did mask because I can actually feel it. And I used Frisket for it. And then of course you saw my disaster on the group where I used washi tape and it lifted it and peeled the paper, and then of course the 100 went all over the place. So I'm using the Frisket, and my god, that smells horrid. I might use rubber cement glue. At least the smell is tolerable, but I won't smell it for too long. Okay, so oh, before we do that, I wanted to show you something, because I want to show another one. But I got this today in a magazine. I have no idea what magazine. I think it's from the UK, but it's an embossing folder. Yeah, embossing trim edge, and the folder cameo, and then the cameo stamp. And oh wow, I saw some cards in the magazine, and beautiful. I'm so excited. I had to share with you. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. Okay, so what supplies are we using? Well, we're going to be using Copic Markers, of course, to color our little project here. And then we're going to be doing some distressing with tea dye ink and walnut stain. And then, of course, the splatters. How in the world did I get the splatters? Well, I mean, you could, but you'd have to frisk it and cover your digi stamp here, you know. So that's the only thing, is you're gonna have to be careful with that. If you do, like, you know, tapping and get the little splatter things, totally doable. And then just like with I don't know if I have one here, but you know what, we'll just pretend this is like a credit card. And then what you could do, you see right here, there's like lines here, and those are actually flukes that were not in the stamp. It's just because I got ink on my stamp. But you could actually put ink on the bottom of a card, or even some very thick cardstock, and just do very random, you know, just a few, just a little bit. You don't need a heck of a lot. Aren't those great little lawn fawn? So cute. Okay, so what did I use? I used the Stampin' Up! Gorgeous Grunge that I purchased from Justine, and I love the grunge, and it's got, too bad we need some little miniature coffee stains. That's what we need to have. So that's what I used, and there you can see it's well used to get the splatter. But like I said, you can do it if you don't have that stamp. You can definitely get it done that way and get the splattered look. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start to color. So like I said, it's going to be a really long process, so I'm going to have to stop, especially if my machine says you don't have enough room. Then I'll have to upload and whatnot, the whole shebang. Alright, so the colors that I'm using, and what did I use to help me select my colors was the hex chart, and by Sandy. And what I like about this chart is I can see all the colors and what colors will go nicely with the colors that I've chosen, and what colors I can actually use as a contrast, you know, to make them stand out more, you know. Whereas the traditional swatch book one is, it shows you what you can blend, but here you have it all in front of you, and it just pops out right there. I also just want to say that I am super lucky that my husband, he is a software developer guy, and his living is to create programs. So my eyes are going, and I totally love the hex chart. It's a real great tool, but I am also an instant gratification kind of girl, and I hate looking for things. And so my husband is actually creating a program for me where I will enter a marker that I wish to use, or some markers that I wish to use, and then I will, it will give me back the markers that I can use with it. So we're working on it. He asked me for the colors and stuff, but he's doing all the work. Of course, he's the brains behind it, not me. I'm just the color behind it. But I'm really excited to see what he creates, and he's flying home today. So he said he'd have something for me, so I'm excited. Maybe I get to test it on a video with you guys. That'd be cool. Alright, but I'm using the hex chart. Well, I used the hex chart just to see the contrast right now, and what colors I needed, you know, that would work well together, because I kind of wanted it not monotone, right, but I wanted it to be just pretty much, but just have a little bit of pop of color. So that's what I was going, because the pop of color is really going to make it look like it's popping out, you know. So okay, enough jibber jabber, right? So I'm using the Y's, and I'm probably gonna have to stop and get some more Y, but I'm using Y21, Y23, and Y32 to start off with. Okay, so here we go. And I'd sing for you, but you'd probably would not like it. So I'm being really not careful about it. In fact, I'm even going to go over the wording. Now, all the digis, when I make the little cards, they will have the phrase that will be slightly faded. I did that on purpose. That way you can color them whatever way you want to. And I'm not concerned about having a unified look of any streaking or anything like that. Now, I don't know if you can see, but my marker is starting to go on me. So, see, I'm already going to have to get some ink. Oh, don't die on me. Okay. I'm gonna get some ink. Okay, so here we go. We're back with some more ink, and you're gonna find that it's a bit more vibrant, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm gonna try to get in here. Because it's meant to be like it's on a board, so I want the colors, you know, to be more organic looking. You know, because if it's all neat and tidy, then bah, you're going for that. You're gonna lose that organic feel. Like, let nature take it. Okay, so I just colored all of it. I'm not going to color my little donut there because I'm adding some other colors. And then what I'm going to do, here comes the fun part. And this is when you're going to just smack yourselves in the head and say, oh, well, I could have done that. And I know you could do this. because it's super easy and there's nothing precise about it. Don't worry about going over the wording with these two colors anyways for now, because we're going to go over it with, where's that marker? We're going to be going with E49 for the words. Okay, so for now, we're just going to be doing the corners. I'm just curving a little bit. I don't want it exactly straight, and I'm just doing the corners. That's it for right now. That's my process. I hope you can see me there. And yeah, you can see me. See, nothing fancy. I'm also going to put some streaks right here in the center. There is no rhyme or reason, honestly. I just kind of, whatever the card, I kind of just feel it and go with it. And then sometimes it turns out. In this instance, honestly, when I first started it, I didn't think it would turn out, but it did. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of blend it in so it doesn't look like that harshness there. I want it to be just blended in a bit. And then, of course, in doing that, I'm going to pull it out, and that way then it'll meet these lines here. And if you want, you can also flick it out. And, oops, I have to keep watching that I'm in frame here. See, it's not tidy at all. It's really, really messy. The important thing is to have some light here in the center. So that's, you know, that's what we're going to try to achieve here. I'm just pulling the color, and I'm going to try not to get that donut. Okay, and then I'm going to go back with my Y21. And you think it would lighten it, but it actually doesn't. It actually darkens it just a little bit. And as you can see, I'm not being perfect. I'm being really messy. I'm also working a little bit fast, but you know what? Nah. This is exactly how I would do it. You don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Just Shia LaBeouf, sis. Just do it. My daughter has me hooked on that. I can't get over it now. It's embedded in my mind. So that's what we have so far. So we still have quite a ways to go, but we've got the base of it. So now what you're going to need is your E33, E34, and E35. Okay, and it's the same theory or concept that we've been doing before that you always learn when you're using the Copics. Some people start with darkest and then work to light. Some people go light to dark. This instance, I'm going dark. I'm going dark to light. So I'm going to do the very same thing. And I'm also going to pay attention to my wording because I don't want to lose it. Because I'm also a little bit, with age comes loss of vision. And my bifocals aren't very helpful. And I'm also working underneath. And there's no, like I said again, there's no rhyme or reason. How thick, how wide, whatever, just get creative and lose yourself in it. Just explore the marker and with the paper and just let it happen. That was my children. They're trying really hard to be quiet. Okay. So that was my E35. Now I'm going to come in with E34. And now I'm definitely going to try to smooth this out because it's too much of a contrast. And I'm also going to pay attention to my wording because I don't want to lose it. And I don't want to bring it too far in, right? Because I want that nice, like if there's a golden light hitting that. So I'm going to be careful about that. I'm just trying to blend it. Notice how I'm not flicking out anymore, not with the darker ones. Just here in the corners, just a tiny bit, but on the sides here, I'm not. Actually, I'm not even really flicking here too much on the corners. I'm just dragging my marker. Okay, so now it kind of looks like something got splattered on it. So we got that contrast, but it's still too much for my liking. Anyways, I want it more blended in. So now I'm grabbing my E33. And now at this point too, I'm also looking and making sure that I don't lose those words. And I can still see them. So I can still see my words there. So I'm still okay. Can you see me there? Yes, you can. And I'm trying to work fast too. That way I can keep this all in one video and it's not like an hour drama. 'Cause you get me started talking, I won't stop. Okay. So now what I want to do, see, I wasn't clean about it. It's really messy. So now what I want to do is I want to blend all this out. Now this is where the work is going to take place. Okay, so I'm going to come in with my Y32 and I'm going to pull that color and it's already lifting it, and that's okay because I want that texture. You know, because if you use a lighter tongue-tied, it's late. Oh goodness. Okay, when you use a lighter color over a darker color, it then behaves like an eraser. So you're gonna get something that, I hope you can see it right there, you're gonna get that texture there, but that's okay because I want that texture. This time I really want it. On faces and stuff, you don't really want it. Maybe clothing and, you know, scenery and stuff like that is kind of cool. But, see, I'm not being really careful. I'm just going for it. Mind focus here. Yes, I am. You're squeaking. And they're okay for so far for color. Now this one I really have to work because I can see it too much. The little, my flicking was icky, but that was okay. But I want to blend it out. And I want to blend this out. And you see how we're already getting that nice little halo? Is it halo? It's late, help me out. And I can still see my words, so it's all good. I'm not going to use Frisket only because it's late at night and I need to open my windows. I have allergies. So I'm just going to wing it. I'm going to wing it. And because I don't want to go to emergency. Okay. I have to do it with the windows open because honestly, Frisket, oh, it smells gross. People who use Frisket, you know what I'm talking about, right? It smells gross. So now what I'm doing is I'm just blending out the Y32 that I used. And I'm getting all of that cool texture from the lighter colors pulling out the darker ones, which I totally want because it's all random. The way that I'm laying down my strokes, I'm going like this. Poof, 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 like that, right? So there'll be some texture here, some texture there kind of thing. Yeah, just play. Have fun with it. It's just paper. You know, I heard people say that a lot. It's just paper. And it took me a while to understand that. But it truly is just paper. Expensive paper, but paper nonetheless. Okay. Now I'm just blending out. Oops, you know what? A happy little mistake, right? I was doing the Y23 instead of doing the Y. I was doing the Y21 over the Y32. That's okay though. I'm just going to go back and blend that out. It'll just add more color. You can't go wrong. No, I would never advise to do this on a face. Unless it's like somebody who just got out of the grave, like for digis, like for zombies and stuff like that. That'd be cool. I'm not a zombie person, so. Okay, but that'd be cool. Alright, so now we have this look right here. I told you it was really easy to do. And it looks like nothing right now because all we have is just color. So, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to check my video here. Okay, we still got time. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to write down below under my YouTube video the markers that I used, okay? Or I'll even, maybe I'll see if I can edit them into the video somehow. Okay, but that's what I used to do the yellow background was Y21, Y32, Y21, Y23, E33, E34, and E35. Sorry, there. Now you can, here, watch. I'm going to do this for you. Wasting time, that's what I'm doing. Okay, there. Pause it and take a picture. Alright, okay. So I'm going to put those away now. And now what I want to do is my wording, okay? So I'm going to, I hope I'm not going to get in the way. I'm using E49. Sometimes the darker colors, they come out and give you the blob of death. So I'm going to open both the lids just so that the pressure inside is equalized in the chamber and it'll come out nice and gentle on me. And because I'm working fast, it might be messy, but if I was doing this like for a card, I would get really into it, like really close right here so I could see the letters and see what I'm doing. But right now I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. So, and that's all I'm doing is just using the E40. I'll leave that right there. Oh, you can hear Shakespeare. My neighbors are probably in the hot tub and he's ruining their romantic night. Nice Shakespeare. They're going to be happy when we're gone. They can have their date nights again. Okay. I'm trying to work really fast and not be terribly messy. So I'll probably keep this one because it's icky. I'm a real perfectionist. And so I'll put it in as in my color book, my color recipe book. That way I remember what colors I used. Okay. And this is, I was tempted to use like the black marker, but then I thought, no, black is too, well, it's just too black. And it's really going to stand out. So then I think I just went with a really dark brown. And this was dark bark actually. And it's perfect. It just goes with the whole coffee theme because it looks like the beans. Actually, the color reminds me of the beans. Now, I'm not a coffee drinker. I've never been a coffee drinker. I think I've had a few sips of it. I tried to like it. I never got to like it. I was a tea drinker, but unfortunately, because of my health, I can't drink that tea anymore. You see how messy that is? Ah, so disappointing. Yeah, so I can't drink tea either because who knew that tea had acid in it? I didn't, and so I can't even drink tea. So, and I have been asked by some people, you know, because I have dysphagia. I lost mobility in my esophagus and I cannot swallow very well. And so I have been asked why I create digis about food. Well, I draw things that I wish I could eat. I really want that donut. I don't so much want the coffee, but I would love the caffeine. I used to be a Coke drinker, So no, actually, you know what? I don't miss the caffeine. I just remember liking it a lot. I miss the sugar. I can't have too much sugar. It will really hurt me. So I draw a lot of things and doodle things that I wish I could eat but cannot. So when I say on the group, go have one and enjoy it for the both of us, I really mean it. And tell me all about it. Don't even get me started, Krispy Kreme. Oh, dear goodness. In Mississauga, in Toronto there, the area, they opened up the first Krispy Kreme donut. And I remember we would line up. We would line up for like a good hour sometimes just to get one donut for everybody. And, oh, delicious, addicting thing. And then Walmart brought them in, but they're better when they're fresh. And you got to see them make the donuts. So that's the story behind my food. I draw what I wish I could eat. And I hope you like them. I really do. Okay, so for the mug, like I said, I wanted to kind of keep it in the same family. So I was going to actually do a red, but maybe next one. But we're sticking with this one. So I'm using, here, I'll let you do a little snapshot again, but I'll list them below. So I'm using E70, E71, E74, and E77. All right, so what I do here is I know that E70 is going to be my lightest color. And so I'm just going to keep that away. But I know that E71 is, actually, sorry, no. E71 is going to be my lightest color and E71 my medium. Of course, you know those rules, right? So I'm using 4 markers only because I want a really rich contrast. So typically when this kind of coloring, when you isolate a white area for a highlight, they usually begin with the medium color. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to begin with the light one. So I'm going to make my highlight. And here my highlight, I went over it with gel pen, but I'm probably not going to do that again. So all I did was I just created a funky shape, you know, a rectangle with almost like a boot, right? Just like that. That's it. I'm going to do the very same down here in the cup, right there. And basically what I'm doing is I'm isolating that area and I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to do the same here on the handle. I'm going to give it a couple of highlights. Okay. Okay. And then what I'm going to do with that marker is come in and just color everywhere except inside those spots with the marker. E70, making sure I don't use the wrong marker. That happens to me and oh, sometimes you can't save it. Sometimes it's ruined. Sometimes you can save it. And again, I'm not being really particular about how I'm laying down the color because the streaking and the different lines is just going to give my mug some texture. And now looking here, I can see I missed a spot behind my mug there that I need to go in and color it. So try to make sure that you don't put any color in the little marks there. So there you can see the little highlights there and there and there. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, before I forget, I'm just going to come in with a marker and fill that little gap there. Yes, that's how picky I am. Okay. So now I'm just going to go with my very darkest color, actually, which is not this one. I'm going to wait till the end. I'm going to show you what I do. This is how I do it. So I'm going to go in with E74. And in case anybody asks me about the tape that I have, I'm always asked about the tape. I simply have the tape, and this one's falling out, only because when I had better health, I used to teach Copics, beginner's Copic, and it was just a way so that the students would get markers from me they would purchase for the class, and then they also had access to my markers as well. And so I didn't want to lose them in the shuffle. That was it. That was the only reason. Okay, so all I'm doing is just coloring wherever I feel that I want the shadows to be. Okay, and you also have to think about your area, how much you have to cover here. Okay, so pay attention to that. When I went for my Copic instruction, my teacher always said to me, "You're too gentle, Paula. Just go with it." I'm going with it. I'm going with it. Okay. And she was such a fun teacher too. I had her took her class in Ottawa. Sherry, I think was her name. But I think she's left now. I can't remember. I think Sherry, yes. I think she's left. Listen to me. Okay, but I liked her a lot. She was a lot of fun. And so was Colleen. She was a lot of fun too. Okay, so now I laid down my E71, so now I'm going to come back with my E70, and I'm just going to flick it out, and not all the way, because I still want some lighter parts, and I'm just going to go back there, and so that it's nicely blended. And making sure that I don't wreck my highlights. All right, it's looking good there so far, right? Okay, so now the mug's not too bad, right? But we need a little bit more contrast. So I'm going to come in now with my E77. And I'm going to uncap both of them, because the darker colors is the blob of death. See, it just did it right there on me, even after taking it out. Oh. So I think you can see me there. And all I'm doing is I'm going back to where I had initially laid down my shadows. And so here, I'll show you right there so you can see right there. Okay, and then I'm just going to work my way down again. So E74, and I'm going to flick it out. Just so there's a nicer blend. There we go, see, and you're already getting that nice contrast. Then I'm using E71. Looking good. Okay, and now with E70, I'm just going to try to blend that in. So it's nicely blended. And we still got all that nice texture and highlights. Sometimes it's nice not to be perfect and have perfect lines, because you create this really yummy texture. And notice here, there's some harsh lines there, but I have to be careful. Okay. See? Easy peasy so far. We're doing it. Okay, so now we need to do our donut. And you know what? I'm not done with my donut colors. Where's my donut colors? So I'm going to go in with, I'm going to use the why do I have the E49 there? Sorry. I shouldn't have put down those markers. There's Y23. Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to go back with the original colors Y21, because I want them all to come together. And there we go. And then I'm going to do the Y32 for the shadows. So I'm just going to go underneath the frosting here. And then Y23. And as I'm doing it, I can already see that that's just not going to be enough for me. So I'm going to come in with E55. And that's going to give it more of a caramel look to the donut. You see that? I hope you can see that. Kind of cool. It already looks yummy. I want a donut. And nobody say blended donut. Don't enable me. It's the sugar too that'll get me. But it would be really tricky to swallow it. Okay. So there's our donut. And because it's all pretty one color right there, I lost some of that shading. The shadow marks there. I'm just going to come in again and let that dry. There we go. Now I'm happy. Now we can move on. Alright, so the top of my icing, of course, y'all know me, I'm going to swing towards pink, but it's going to look like a light red here for the donut. And you should be careful and not get color on your donut. Like I got some yellow on there only because it's going to change the color. So it's going to have a yellow base once you lay down your color there. So now what I'm going to do is create my shadows with R24. And it's tricky shadowing anything that's uber tiny, but I'm gonna try my best. And I want to leave the top there with no shadow, and I'm gonna blend it with R22. And you can you see me there? I'm sorry, my hand's in the way. I'll have to figure out a decent way how to videotape. Basically what I did was I put my shadows on the valleys in the donut. Whoops, on the valley in the donuts is what I did. And then I'm going to get my R21 and I'm going to blend it because I don't want it to be like there we go. I don't want the marking like to be like there's the shadow, you know? Okay, so now we can have fun with the sprinkles. Sprinkles. Okay, so now I'm just gonna like random colors here. Now we need to get some color in there. And for this, I use the Y32. And hope you can see me there. Okay. Then I'm going to do E35 for some shadowing and shading here. And I'm going to come back with that 32. That can be any color really. And then I'm just going to create some ripples in the coffee. Okay, so now I'm not going to use my gel pen yet. I'm going to use that for my very last one. So I'm going to just put away all these markers for now, except my BV02. Okay, and now with my BV02, I'm going to go in, and I didn't do it in this card, and but here it's a little darker, so I'm going to try it. That one I probably would have used BV00. So I'm just going to go underneath, just, you know, to give it a little bit, the shadow, just a bit more oomph. And the E77 is probably darker. Nope, it's actually doing a pretty good job. I'm not going to put a lot. There, see? Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Okay. And now we're going to grab our distress inks. So I'm going to grab my tea dye ink first of all. And I'm going to take my, these are cool. I really like these. I like that you have more control. I don't like to have white edges. So I'm just going to go around to get the white edges with the tea dye. And then while it's still up in the air, or you can have it down here, but I don't want to go too much. I don't want too much ink on here because I don't want to lose what I had with the markers. I just want this to enhance it a bit. So I'm just going to go around the sides, and it's just very light. I'm not even sure if the camera will pick it up. Okay, so it's just very light. And because I want it to be a little bit darker, I'm not going to use my walnut stain with this one. I need a round one. And as you can see with that walnut, it just made it pop right out. So now again, with not too much ink on there, I just dabbed it on here my paper. I'm just going to do the corners just a little bit, not much, just a little bit. Okay. All right. And that was that. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm not going to use my gel. I had to remind myself. Okay. I wonder how much time I have left. Do I have time to tell you a little story? Okay, so you know I'm using the Gorgeous Grunge, and this is the stamp right here, and you see I don't even take it out because I use it with my hands. That's how I use the Gorgeous Grunge. So like I said, I would put Frisket, but I would put or rubber cement or whatever you want to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, whoops, wrong ink. I'm not going to use walnut ink because it's just too dark. So I'm using the tea dye ink. And all I'm going to do is just pat it down. And as you can see here, there's like some lines in there, and that just might transfer onto here. And those are the lines that you see in, like for instance right here, you know. So that's kind of cool. But you know what I noticed too is we didn't create the base here. Okay, so we need to do that. We need to do that. So to create the base, again, all you're doing is, oops, you're going underneath. I'm using E35. I'm not being clean about it. And you're working your way down. This one's E33. I'm actually jumped a bit because it's allowing me to. Okay. And then I'm going to go into Y32, and I'm going to flick downward and kind of brush it too, because I just want to blend it to make it like it's standing on a table, or resting on a table, not standing. Okay. And so that's how I did that right there. Okay. Phew, I caught that one. Okay. All right, so we have our ink all nicely, our stamp all nicely inked up. So I'm just going to turn around and try really hard not to touch it. And I'm just going to ink wherever. And I'm not going to double ink because I just used the one, and I'm going to use the back side. And I'm kind of going in diagonal, and I'm going to try really hard not to get it on the donut. And I know that I have better control with the narrower one, so I'm just going to use that. And I'm going to see what I have here. There we go. Alright, that looks like somebody got really messy. Okay, so there's our ink splatters, and it's going to dry a little bit lighter too. And now I'm using my gel pen. And you know what? I got a new gel pen and it works a whole lot better. So I'm crossing my fingers this one's going to work. And there you have it. So that is how I colored up the little cards that I'm making, and they're little mini ones, and I just put them up there. So super easy, lots of fun. I hope that you try out this really simple, fast method, and I hope that you show your work on My Whimsical Little World. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for showing me such awesome support for these adorable digis, because honestly they really truly do come from my heart, and what my heart desires is a donut. So I really appreciate all the love I got for them, and I hope that you will embrace the tea digis as well, and other goodies that are going to be coming along the way too, little mini ones. So I had a lot of fun working with them, and I'm having a lot of fun coloring them, and makes my days a lot easier. And also I would love to see your work and your take on the wall. That would make me really happy. So until then, have a creative week.